Do you have a primal distrust of men? This was a really interesting place where my last Dance of Polarity conversation went, where my guest expressed that it's been her experience that the difference in feeling safe for her between men and women is that for her, there have been instances where she is aware of men's intrinsic primal desire for the feminine. And as a result, that creates an element of unsafety, creates an element of distrust. There is this lingering thought, this lingering feeling, this lingering primal instinct, this primal distrust that this man wants something from me. He wants my body from me. He wants my sexual energy from me. He wants my sexuality from me. And as a result, that leads to a sense of feeling unsafe. And as a man, it's not something that I have had an experience of from many other men. There have been occasions actually where I have felt the desire of a man, and I'm a heterosexual male and I'm not that way inclined, but there's been an energetic where I've felt an intention towards me, and in a way it did make me feel unsafe. This sense of this person wants something from me that I don't want to give them, and the sense of distrust that brought on. It was interesting, the conversation that we had, where she expressed that she had an interaction recently where she didn't know this person but felt very trusting and safe with them. And I asked why, and it was because of the energetic that they portrayed, the exuding of safety in the emotional regularity that they were demonstrating in the scenario, situation, space that they were sharing. And because of that, this person felt an attraction towards them, not because she was physically attracted to them. In fact, this person wasn't their physical type, but because of the energetic and the emotional mastery that this man was portraying in the way that he was carrying himself and conducting himself in the space. It was attractive because it felt safe. And I found that wonderfully interesting, that the ability to exude and demonstrate emotional mastery and energetic attunement creates an attraction. There's something attractive about it. And the antithesis being true, that someone who isn't in control of their emotional state is unattractive and in fact feels dangerous and distrustful. And maybe that's something that you've experienced as well. And it speaks into what is it that you need to feel safe in a situation where someone is demonstrating that they are demonstrating giving off a distrusting energy because of perhaps that primal desire. And I wonder with that distrust, is that something that you have experienced from, or is something that's present with you in every day, in the interactions that you have? And maybe it's something that's not even been consciously addressed or aware of, but it's what creates the distrust or the dis-ease in, as a woman, being around men, because there is this built-in unconscious program from generations and years and decades and centuries and millennia that this primal urge of men, of the masculine, and the lack of control of being able to manage that makes them inherently unsafe and distrustful. And how can we, as people learning to gain emotional mastery and safety within ourselves as sovereign beings, undo that programming so that we can feel safe? And this is what I'm doing with mind yoga, is how, okay, if you're aware of this element of unsafety and distrust because of someone, the way that they carry themselves, or simply just because they're a man and there's a part of you that doesn't trust them, what is it that we can do to keep the thing that's attempting to keep you safe, that instinct, that primal instinct, but massage it into a behavior and a belief that would allow you to conduct yourself in a way that promotes your safety without needing to feel distrust inherently? How can you intrinsically and inherently feel safe, irrespective of whether that person is giving off unsafe vibes or distrustful vibes, or is just being who they are? And how does this speak into teachings? I think what it speaks into for me is this idea of sovereignty, that at any moment there is only ever two choices: to abide by the unconscious programming, the mental, emotional impressions that have either been passed on, I don't want to say biologically, but maybe biologically to a degree, biologically or societally, or inherited in the exchanges that we have. Do we abide by that, or can we remain in conscious awareness and presence and choose not to follow that programming if it's unhelpful to us? There's a distinction between, sometimes these programs are installed for a reason, yes? At some point, it was useful, beneficial, advantageous to respond in a particular way. It served, and that response becomes ingrained at an unconscious level and continues to be, that program continues to be run if a situation arises that invokes it. The thing is, if it's being done unconsciously, it's not being done by conscious choice, which means it's being done even if it's reached a point where it's no longer serving. And if it's no longer serving and it's being done unconsciously, then it's not to our benefit. It's not to our overall well-being. It's not the healthiest way to conduct oneself. And so this is where mind yoga comes in. It's learning to identify where this unconscious programming is occurring and to rewrite the program with something that is of benefit and has been consciously installed. And it's difficult to do. If it were easy to do, we'd all just do it all the time naturally, and none of us would ever have any problems. The truth of the matter is that's not what happens. This unconscious program runs. We don't really know that it's going on. Even if we do, we don't know how to resolve it and undo it, because it's deep. It's very unconscious some of the time, and it's serving a purpose that oftentimes we don't understand. which is why it requires someone who can go in, and I call myself a programmer, a human programmer, a program of the mind. It's a system upgrade, and it's really challenging to do oneself because it's using the mind to upgrade the mind, and the mind is very good at not wanting to do that because it doesn't fully understand. It's unconscious, and so having someone to guide you through that and pull you out of going down a wrong path and massage out the things that need to install upgraded system, updated program to allow you to navigate the world with more freedom is the way to go about that. So if you recognize that you are running programs that are not serving you anymore, you keep doing the same thing or repeating the same pattern, and even though you know that it's not what you want to do, you don't know how to not do it, then I invite you to drop me a little message, write a comment, reach out, where we can go on that exploration, go on that adventure together. Because it's not that you're incapable of finding that resolution, it's just that you're ignorant as to how to do it. And I say that with all the love. I don't mean that as a put down. I mean to say that you don't know what you don't know. And how could you? The way to create change is to introduce something outside of the system. And you have the capability to create the change. All that's missing is just the catalyst. And that's where I come in. And that's what I love doing, is going on these adventures with people to uncover those mental, emotional knots, massage them out, reinstall updated systems that allow you to surrender fully into love, life, and success.